my Disney magic officially arrived today. I'm 2 months away, and Walt sent that down from him. It happened today, so now nobody's going to make me sad or upset or cry. Because I'm going to go see Mickey and make a little princess's life amazing. She doesn't even know she's going. I just sent it to her grandma. So her grandma's paying her way and her daughter's way, and I'm paying for the granddaughter's way and the food, and we are going to be shedding tears. They're very expensive to go, and you know what? We only live once. Look at those. You ready? You're so cute. She's got a Aussie doodle, and I say Aussie in her. Well, I don't think it's a poodle. Zara's like, I'll just, did it go over two? Did Grandma do two of them? Grandma can't throw balls today or what? No, you got it. Come on, girl. Come on, girl. She won't bring it back if I have one in my hand. I have to hide it. So when she was a baby, I taught her how to bring a ball back because I was sitting in a hot tub and I would throw it and then she wouldn't bring it back, and I'm going, I'm not getting out. So she would finally learn to bring the ball back, laid on the steps. Oh my goodness, I give up. I just did it again. All right, no more balls over the fence, Pebbles. I can't do that. That's money that's going against my Disney trip. Grandma's got the strength today. Anyway, I had to do a stream because I don't know what got into me today, but I'm like, I'm going to Disney World in 8 weeks. My part of it's already paid, except for the food. And if I end up being able to have enough money to surprise her with a bippity-boppity boutique, but I don't know what that's going to happen. So my magic came today. Welcome in, everybody. Disney Grandma got the Disney magic today. Walt sent it down to me. Normally it comes earlier, but this year it came 2 months out. But I've been working 7 days a week too, so. These are my granddogs. Zara all shaking there, waiting for Pebbles to run. Anyway, you guys subscribe. November the 22nd is going to be so magical. For our Disney princess who doesn't know she's going. If I can manage to, if I keep making overtime, I might be able to afford the bippity boppity boutique. Then we all are going to be fine. This little girl is 5 years old and she knows every single Disney character. I took her to Disney on Ice twice. And she knows it all. And she really, really wants to go. So we're making it happen. Her dreams will come true. And I got some little golden books for the characters to sign, so she can pass that down to her children someday. And I got the photo pass, so and we will have 1,500 pictures. I know it takes all my overtime and all of my vacation pay for 2 years to make this happen. work 7 days a week to get this to happen. But you know what? It is worth it. I think part of my magic today was, I know Bob Iger's leaving, and he's been with us for a long time. And he's stepping down. He stepped down once as CEO, and they brought him back. But now he's stepping down again. And I had a mess up with Disney back when me and my daughter went, and we wanted to go underground with Disney underneath to see how it's run underneath. And I set it up over the phone with the call center. That's how I do it, and then I pay monthly. And I got down there and I specifically asked them, is this all I need? Yep, that's all you need. Is this all I need? Yep, went over it with them. Asked them a ton of times, because that's what I do. And I got down there, and we stayed an extra day just so we could go to that. And I was in line to go to it. And the security's like, you know, I showed them my tickets for the underground, and they're like, no, where's your ticket? And I go, that's my ticket. And they go, no, it's not. You got to have a park ticket. And I'm like, no, I don't. They go, yeah, ma'am, you do. I go, no, I don't. They go, security. So they pulled a bunch of people up, and they're like, ma'am, listen, don't want you to get you upset, but you can't go to downtown Disney without a park ticket, or down underground without a park ticket. And I'm like, dude, what? So then they sent me over to the help desk, I can't remember what it's called, security place, but anyway, I guess customer service. And they tell me the same thing, and I'm like, no, listen. So by this time, our group had already left. And so we weren't going to be able to go, because you got to be there on time. And I was just losing it, crying, and I said, Don, I want my money back. And she said, no, you won't get your money back either. And I go, no, I will. And she said, no, you won't. And I was so upset. I don't even want to cry right now. I was so upset. And so I came home and I looked up, trying to find information about how to get over to Walt Disney World. And couldn't figure anything out, so I called the people that I made the reservation with, and they're like, oh ma'am, I'm sorry, I can't help you, that's out of our range. And I said, no, you will help me. They go, no, we won't. I said, listen, I didn't know Bob Iger's name then, but I go, I need the head CEO of the company. And they go, oh, you won't talk to him? And I'm like, no, I will. My daughter can vouch for this. And I said, no, I will. And they said, no, you won't. So I came home, I was still all upset. And so my daughter helped me write an email and put it on the Disney website, you know, like put it on the good things and the bad things, or however you have to do it. I don't remember how she had me do it. And I told that story. And the very next day, I get an email from a guy at Walt Disney World, and he said, your email, your review that you made went all the way to the top, to the CEO of Walt Disney World, Bob Iger. He even said his name. He said, give me a call as soon as you can, and we will get this fixed. So I was so shocked. So I called, and as soon as I said who I was, he said how sorry he was that nobody had bothered to help me out. That what the problem was is that they had one part of the call center running the park and the trip, and the other part of the call center running the underground, and they did not communicate on our trip. And he said, are you ever planning on coming back here again? And I said, yes, I'm coming back next year. And he said, how many people do you have? And I said, there's two. There's me and a little 16-year-old boy that I'm taking magical. He said, well, I just bought all of his tickets for your next trip. And he said, I'm refunding your money for the downtown underground too. And I almost started bawling. And I was like, I'm so sorry that I made a stink. He said, no, it's customers like you that let us know where we're dropping the ball. And Mr. Iger wanted me to let you know that he thanked you for bringing this to our attention. And to have a magical trip. And so now I don't want Bob to leave, but he is leaving. So there is a guy that's taken over that's been with Disney for quite a while. We'll see how he does. But I'm telling you, Bob Iger had it. He had it going on. So, you know, I do wish him the best. But, oh my goodness. It hit me so strong to be my Disney magic. I'm like, I don't even know where that came from. But I got it. So that's all that matters. Anyway, we're going again. You know, this time my tickets aren't paid for. But I tell you what, it don't really matter. Because when you take care of the people who matter, who's coming to see you or renting with you or coming to your restaurant or whatever they're doing, you know, those people are going to come back. And I would have probably went back anyway, but my magic wouldn't have been as strong. So he brought my magic so strong that I almost wanted to meet him in person at that point, you know, and say, you know, caring about a lady like me who's poor, who brings Disney magic to people that can't afford to go, made my dream come true. You know, I'll never get a meeting because that's just not the way it works. But I definitely emailed him enough and put little notes in the things to let him know. And I know that I'm not the only one he ever did anything for. But Disney has a way of just doing that. So I took a lady by the name of Cassie, who grew up with my daughter. And we went to Disney World, and she was communicating with me about, you know, what characters she liked, which I already knew she liked Eeyore. And she said, when I was a little girl, you know, when I meet Snow White, I'm going to cry. When I was a little girl, and my mom took me to Disneyland, I cried because I was scared of Snow White. So then I knew what I was going to do. I knew I was going to get the castle. Luckily, the castle doesn't always have Snow White, so luckily she did then. Or I would have been upset there, but they did have it. So we went to Cinderella's castle. And there's a video on my stream about that. So she was already upset because we didn't stop and get her coffee. Da-da-da-da-da, you know. And I'm like, just don't worry about it. No, I don't worry about it. She's getting off. So we get up there. And we sit down, and she's picking at her breakfast, you know, and all of a sudden, Snow White's first, because Snow White was his first princess. So Snow White is always first. And so then they announce Snow White, and she just loses it, like, why do you do this while I'm eating? Like, she just comes unglued. So anyway, she has that Snow White moment. You guys can go watch that if you want, which is absolutely beautiful. And then I take her over to, later in the day, we go over to the Crystal Palace to meet Eeyore. And she knew about this one. It wasn't a surprise. But I had bought her a plate. You know, it wasn't really expensive, but it was more expensive than what you get online, you know. And my hands, I broke both my wrists, so my hands don't hold on to things like they should. And I dropped her plate right before we went into the restaurant. And I'm like, how does that happen? And Cassie goes, don't worry about it. It's okay. And I was like, no, I dropped her to, don't worry about it. You know, she's all being good. So I pick up the pieces of the broken plate because our reservation's ready. And I go up to the people and I hand it to them. I said, here, I don't want no little kid to get cut or anything. And so they go, oh no. I go, no, I broke her plate. Eeyore was going to sign it. And so they, hey, Pebble! Stop! Stop! They're fighting. Stop. So they were now I lost my train of thought because I was just attacking them. Anyway, the manager of the store, luckily, the restaurant, his wife was ahead. His wife was ahead of the merchandise. So he come out and he said, don't go anywhere. And I'm like, what? And he goes, no, don't go anywhere. We've got something for her. He said, my wife is the head of merchandise. And we're going to do something special for her because I know you paid a little bit of money for that plate. And I'm like, oh my goodness. He brought presents to the table, the crew. And then she started bawling again. Let's make a long story short because you can go see it in the video. They brought that over to her and made her cry. And then after she got done opening all of that, then Eeyore came over and she cried again. And so then they come over and got her and said, we're going to take you over here. And they took them up to the Friendship where you stand up there and it's not everybody gets to do it, but it's Friendship Day. So they brought Eeyore out there and she starts crying again. And then they take her and march her around the restaurant with the Eeyore parade. And so the next day, I wished I had that video she had, but the next day she's in Epcot. And she posted something on Facebook and she's like, you know, you see people do, Disney do stuff for people all the time. You see it on TV where they made something magical or they did this for this person or that person. She says, but you never think it's going to happen to you. And she said, it totally did. And she was crying in the video. She's like, and she went through the whole thing of how she got to meet Snow White. And then how, you know, they brought her presents out and they did this and that to her. And I was like, man, I wish I had that just made my trip, all of it worth it, to have that magic to her. Actually, I'm taking her and her kids to Disney on Ice, November the 1st. Because I can't afford to take her to Disney World. But we'll be crying there too. You can bet on it. We'll have plenty of videos and stuff for that too. And that's how crazy I am. But anyway. Because we got the front row seats on the ice. And that's not even 2 months away. That's a month away. Anyway, I can't wait. The magic is amazing. If you let it be, right? It don't have to be Disney. That's my magic. It all has got to do with my childhood and my rough childhood and how I just watched all of my Disney movies and everything alone because I didn't have family. It was just me. All the Disney characters for my Christmas and Thanksgiving and everything. But it don't have to be that for you. It can be whatever your magic is. Just share it with somebody else. And help bring that magic into their life. Because if you can afford to go on a vacation, you can afford to add one more person who can't afford to go. That's just the way I believe. And back when I was younger, raising my boys, we were dirt poor then. And I couldn't do stuff like that for them. But now that I'm a senior, I don't have to take care of my children anymore. I can do stuff for people now, so. But my Disney magic came strong today, so it's here. It ain't going nowhere. I'll be good for probably another year. Because once I get back, I still got that magic. They make it so magical that when you come back, you're still in the magic. The family I took 4 years ago, the mom and daughter, they're both grown. They come up to me and they said, Linda, you made me forget that I had a husband and a son back at home. And the daughter said, you made me forget I had a husband. I had to remember to call him every night. That's just the way it is. If you go magical and you plan it, and you can go down there and not have the Disney magic and just ride rides, and or not even ride rides if you don't know what you're doing. But if you know what you're doing and you're going with Disney Grandma, the magic will be strong because I know how to plan it. It took me a couple of trips to learn. Whoops, that one went over the fence too. I got to give up on the balls. But anyway, the magic can be strong if you let it. And not let this old world get you down. Because it can really quick. And I know I got some more overtime coming. So I'm hoping I can get enough to get that bippity boppity teeth for her. Her grandma's working 2 jobs. And now she's thinking about getting a 3rd one just so she can get a little extra magic down there. Because I'm telling you, when I go to the grocery store, I count my pennies. I think about whether I want to get a Starbucks coffee or not. But when I go to Disney, I ain't thinking about none of that stuff. So it's just going to happen. And I ain't going to be penny pinching. I'm going to get what I want and do what I want. Because for 2 years, I don't do anything. Anyway, that's my story. And I thought I'd share that with you guys because I was all like bawling on Facebook and stuff today. Telling people about it. I think I stepped in dog poop. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Got some magic going on. Don't be sorry. You're my nighttime magic right now. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Alright guys, this is Grandma signing off. You guys have a magical night. I hope I wasn't blah-blah-and too much, but I wanted to share that with you. The magic that I have found. And that's not the only one. There's a bunch of them. But anyway. Have a magical night.